Okay, let me welcome on board Varun Saboo as well and find out what he's making of the market right now. Varun, let's talk about sectors because really power has been the story today. Not just the finances, but look at it, Tata Power, which is currently zooming double digits. I don't recall the last time Tata Power was up so much in a single day. Do you think there's still value on the table for any of the power or its ancillaries?
See, there are two, three things to it. First of all, thanks for inviting us to your show. Just to mention, so one, we have seen years of consolidation in the space, particularly Tata Power as a stock, right, has been there for a while. There has been so much deficit of power that we keep talking about. We have been talking about the power demand to grow in the country at a stupendous rate, and we are extremely short of power right now in the country. So this is a multi-year story, as we were rightly mentioning before this. Stocks have just started reacting. I think there can be a very, very sharp run from here also. Although we don't have any formal coverage, I'm again re-highlighting. But yeah, this space itself is becoming very attractive. So yeah, I think power story can be interesting. As regards the overall market and what we are focusing on, I think one, with the recent election results which came, there is somewhere a sense of continuity in the governance in the country, which seems to be there. There is a higher certainty which is building in, where we are expecting now that continuity should remain with how the results have been. So this is a great scenario when a government comes in for 2, 3 straight terms. It leads to continuity. It leads to a lot of things changing. So, for example, we have seen a huge infra build up in the country in the last 4, 5 years, be it digital infra, be it physical infra, everything. And that's what is resulting in how things are turning out to be in terms of how companies are doing, in terms of how your stock markets are doing, are doing, etc. So I believe that the run has just started. This could be the biggest bull run that we all are going to witness for the next 5 years, and very good time to stay invested, invest more. It is also getting supported with the fact that FIs had been heavy sellers in the market. For last 2, 3 years, we saw them selling roughly 4 lakh crores worth of equity. While on the other hand, we have seen domestics growing consistently. We are seeing now SIP inflows in mutual funds being 15,000 crores, and other investment horizons like insurance, etc., all are also seeing a lot of inflows. AIFs are growing. So liquidity support is also there to the market. So your economy doing exceptionally well, looking very promising from the next 5 year perspective, and funds ever growing, and now FIIs have. I mean, there's no other choice for FIs but to come back and pour in their liquidity as well, because in terms of their performance, there will be a significant dent, right? Because in terms of country exposure, they are quite low on India, and that will definitely result in they coming back stronger. So I think we are in a very, very good shape, and markets should do very well with a slightly longer perspective.
So that's a view on power, macro markets and a lot more. But let me take it across to our chartists as well. Kunal and Nooresh are with us on the show. Kunal, what do you make of a bit of a consolidation? Seems like it's a complete pause button that the markets have hit today.
Yeah, it's a good pause for the markets after I think 7 or 8 consecutive days of uptrend, 4 gaps which have been created into the index in this last 7 days. So it's a healthy consolidation. The bank Nifty also I think has been more range bound. But again, I think today's day is more of market breadth. You're specifically seeing the power stocks looking quite charged up. So there are pockets of stocks and sectors which are looking attractive. Many of the PSU names like NTPC, etc., these stocks have also recovered from their intraday lows. So I believe that that's likely going to be the theme for the markets going forward, that hopefully in the next 1 week, if the index consolidates at this 20,900 plus minus 100 to 100 points, we could be looking at such kind of odd sectors as well as odd stocks, making the day for traders.
I don't think it's an odd sector at all anymore, the way power has been run this year. But within power, Kunal, get specific in terms of stock, apart from NTPC, from the broader markets, cash market as well, CSC, etc. Any name that comes to mind? So
CSC was one of the picks which I highlighted, I think at 106-7 levels, revised the targets to 130, still be bullish on the stock from current levels. Torrent Power is the other name which I believe also looks attractive. Tata Power, of course, after such a kind of a fierce breakout, it skews the risk reward as such. But I believe that with this kind of momentum, the stock is just indicative of a major ending of a consolidation. So for, I think, the last 2 years, the stock was in a range of 290 as a resistance, and then it came back towards 200, 220 mark multiple times. So what we are talking of is a 100-point range for the stock, which has ended after a 2-year, 3-year consolidation for Tata Power. So it still looks good for more. Of course, buy and dips could be a better strategy for the stock.
Okay, that's the take coming in on Tata Power. Wait for a dip before buying on this one. Nooresh, other than power, what are the other trends that you're picking up? Nooresh, you'll have to unmute yourself.
Yeah. So we are seeing more stock-specific action rather than sector apart from power. So if we look at it, we are looking at momentum in coming in some of the names like an Info Edge, which is coming close to a breakout. Then you have something like, say, even in the banking space, structurally, most of the stocks are near breakouts. We've taken a pause because the rally was sharp. So ICICI Bank is sitting around the breakout points. You have IndusInd Bank very close to the breakout points. So going forward, after a little bit of a pause, purely because of the momentum, banking and financials as a sector, and specifically banking, could still look interesting. So it's a buy on dips on some of the larger banks like SBI, ICICI, IndusInd, and even smaller ones like a Federal Bank.
Okay, so that's the take coming in on the banking names, power sector, and a lot more. But time now to take a short breather on the show. Don't go anywhere. When we come back, we discuss a lot more stocks.
Back with closing trades, right here on 80 now. Consolidation, and that's quite comfortable, frankly. It's really been a one-way tear for the market. So around the 20,900 mark, you're not really complaining. IEX, Tata Power, Power Grid, Adani Ports, some of the pharma names like a Cipla, DRL, they are the ones which are actually holding out well. As is India Cements too, that's also scaling up by about 4% right now. In fact, we should bring up the intraday chart of that stock because a chunk of the move on India Cement has just come in the last 1 hour or so. There's Indus Tower also holding up by about almost 5%. And then Concor too looks smart by about 5.5% or so. Varun, besides power, the other theme in the market, and a large umbrella at that, has also been PSUs, right? Do you still have conviction in this theme, or do you think 2024 it could get a little bit risky, purely because of the impending
Absolutely,
elections?
Honestly, I will be very positive on PSU still. So one thing we have to realize, this has been the best time PSUs are having in a long time, but they have still been very reasonable in terms of valuations, how things have been. So there was a long catch up due in them, which has been the case. And second, also, as I mentioned earlier, the same point, when there is continuity in the government, when there is continuity in the ones who are owning you, their policies, etc., are in place. So things will flow down. So say, for example, when we come to defense stocks, you know that there are, so the narrative still continues. You're going to see the same thing what we've been seeing, the kind of ordering which was there, which might continue going forward. So there is a particular narrative this government has been running with that ideally will continue, is what one has to understand. So all these PSUs will be the ones through which these narratives are fulfilled. So as in business per se, they'll do very well, and they all are still quite reasonable in terms of valuation. So I think PSUs should be there in the portfolio, and there can be still a good enough compounding you can see over a period of time in them.
Okay, so still some compounding as far as some of these public sector entity names are concerned. Yes, of course, it's power stocks which are doing well, but then there are home financiers as well that also deserve mention. Look at a Home First Finance. It's high by 6 to 7%. Hoodco is also holding up. And then, of course, there are other names as well from that entire real estate basket like Prestige Estates, etc., which are holding on comfortably. On the losing side, one can't forget Paytm and the drubbing that one is seeing. Varun, what's your take on Paytm and this entire unsecured lending business and RBI raising red flag? Is there more that we should expect in terms of the second rung and third rung impact of it as well? Because initially everybody came out with an explanation, we are not impacted, but now slowly and steadily we are seeing that reality on ground.
See, again, we don't have formal coverage today, but just to mention, I think recently management has mentioned that they will be moving on the higher ticket size lending going forward. So is the impact of the lower ticket size there in the price? I think To quite an extent it is, because I think roughly about 40-50% of their overall disbursements were coming from the from the lower than 50,000 book. If we have to consider kind of all the stock has seen, it's covering up quite a lot for that impact. I think from here downside should be limited. We'll have to see on the thing which they've mentioned, that they'll be growing more on the larger ticket size loans now, how that pans out. So that will give you a better visibility. But yeah, the stock has taken a lot of beating.
Okay, on that note, Varun, we'll let you go. Thank you so much for making time and speaking with us. So that's the latest coming in. In fact, on the losing side, you also have Network 18, TV 18 coming under pressure. Sugar stocks, though off the lowest point of the trading session, are still trading in the red. So EID, Parry, Praj Industries, which has been a good ethanol play, are all in the red. And Aditya Birla Capital along with Paytm is also down 4%. But let's take the closing trades ideas from our chartist. Nooresh, what's the closing trade idea?
So that would be a buy on Voltas, a stock which has been sideways for a really long time, has now finally made a up move, made a new swing high, decent enough price volume action in the day. The stock has gone nowhere for almost a year now. So expecting this to bounce back towards the 900, 950 mark.
Okay.
Right.
Kunal, what about you?
So I'll go with a buy on SBI from the PSU banking lot. Interestingly, looks like that the stock is heading towards a breakout of a major consolidation. So expecting SBI to do exceptionally well in the next couple of trading sessions.